Unmute us. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're coming back. Stream, folks. There we go. All right, we should be online on the internet. The stream should be back up. We are now joined by Didier Greenleaf. How you doing, sir? I'm adjusting audio levels as we speak.
I'm doing excellent right now. I'm streaming. You're streaming. This is straight.
That's right.
Streamception.
Everybody is full in the internet.
All on the internet.
All I see are matrix code, just green zeros and ones. Can you hear us okay? Because all the audio should sound pretty much fine for people watching our final stream, but we're on just like a room mic, so we probably sound a little echoey to you. But let us know if I can tweak any of that stuff. Like, should we be a little louder? Are we coming okay so far?
Sound okay.
Okay. All
And
right.
everything sounds great on my end. Likewise, anyone watching my stream, audio issues, just send me.
Yeah, let us know in our respective chats. But then, yeah, I'm not. If it seems okay, I'm not going to touch it.
fine.
So, all right, coming into round 7, which I'm pretty sure is the final Swiss round.
To our knowledge.
Right. And we've got Red Enraged Roshi versus something.
Mystery.
So you just started your stream, right? Like a couple minutes ago, or well, not a couple minutes ago, but within the hour at least.
Yeah, we had a kickoff of cake.
Right on. That's a.
Wish I had some cake.
That's the best way to celebrate that I can think of for putting up those hot numbers. Congratulations on the subscribers, by the way. That owns.
Yeah, thanks, man. Hey, but I gotta ask you. We were kind of watching the stream and talking about it. What happened in that last game with that protective Yamcha?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he just run over the, what was it, brawling?
I mean,
it was 13. It was a devious 13.
Right.
Trot,
it was a
Yamcha.
real, just like, kind of war of attrition that, like I said, they got into like a kind of a surprising number of combats in that game. Like I want to say
Yamcha kept entering.
Yeah, I want to say they were in like 5 or 6 combats total, and Yamcha basically just came out slightly ahead at the end of every one of them. It seemed like so he just seemed to eventually wear him down.
MP powered ships.
Yeah, and that's good because I see a lot of blue Yamchas sometimes playing too passive. But when you have all that like inherent card advantage with your power, you want to go aggressive.
I don't know.
Sorry. Let's see. Say something else. Is that better? Sorry, I'm fixing Lorraine's audio maybe. But yeah, no, I agree. And in fact, he was truly going for it. Like, he was, like Lorraine said, he was entering almost every combat.
He blew up to 3 with like 2 unleashes.
Right,
like,
and not mindlessly. Like, he was clearly you know, he said, oh, I can probably turn this turn into an advantage if I push a little bit.
Okay, it sounds good. They say.
Okay,
no.
I think I turned on the wrong channel.
Oopsie.
My apologies, but we should be good now.
I'm here too.
Was 13 anger centered, or was it like just active centered?
I mean, it looked anger centric to me, and most Black 13 builds I see do lean in that direction, and that was the other thing that like Yamcha was still able to get real on top of him in terms of anger all game 2, so he never left level 1. That was kind of that.
It's a natural counter in that one.
Oh sure, yeah, for certain.
Is this table 1 or are these undefeated that we got?
It's either table 1 or table 2, I would guess at this point, because those are 2 undefeated players.
They've been doing really high matches all day, so it wouldn't surprise me if this actually is the last round that they would pick the.
Yeah, right on. So we've got Rick Ketchum, and that name owns, by the way, on the left with Enraged Roshi.
I've seen that name before. I think we've seen him, like, he might have been at, like, the Michigan.
Oh, yeah, maybe. And then Logan Cordell, excuse me, with Empowered Broly. So Roshi's going to lead, drop an early ball 3, and probably a bunch of other board.
Ball 3 in time first turn of the game. Can't go wrong with that.
Say, yeah, if he could have set that hand himself, he might have ended up with those cards.
Slumber, like,
so
what?
that is pretty all right for your opening action. And we haven't seen any Saiyan on the stream today yet.
Nope.
I guess it's mostly been black with like a handful of other things sprinkled in. But
another game of no coolers.
Yeah, I'll take it. And Roshi's pretty uncommon these days, like whole cloth too. So I don't mind seeing a Roshi at the top
Roshi
tables
play
today
for sure.
Hey, you got to work to get this far with Red Roshi.
Oh yeah, no joke.
It all really depends on matchup too.
Mm-hmm. Got to play well. Got to draw well.
But if they're both undefeated, he must have played like he could have potentially gone through a gauntlet of other very good, like very high up in the table players.
Sure. And Roshi will drop a ball 5. That's some more anger. Cycle through yet more cards, looking to build more board.
Another, or no, is that not?
Just
That is a
Roshi
ball.
drawing really well with the slumber too, putting
Or
the
no, that's
pressure
not a
on
ball.
Brawley. Like he doesn't want to enter right now.
For sure. And
Yeah.
honestly, he sort of needed the slumber while dropping that ball 3. Like, either the slumber or the time, and he ended up with both of them. Because in the turn that he might get opened up on, like, those card draw balls are going to be a big liability. But right now, he's got enough of a wall that I doubt the first combat that they get into will be very dangerous for Red Roshi.
Oh, he's also the only Roshi in the tournament.
Oh, that's nuts.
Really?
Wow.
That's insane.
That's
That's what I've been told.
Yeah. And all right, we're going. First combat of the game.
Okay.
Logan's coming in.
So many cards in his hand.
Well, that's his looking. He's
Oh,
looking
okay,
with,
okay. I was like, holy
he's stacking stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's picking a hand,
Yeah.
and then he'll put that other stuff back.
yeah, but it's still scary.
Yeah. No kidding.
Mm-hmm. And even though he doesn't get to draw those cards, it is scary statistically that he gets to look at that fraction of his deck and choose the 3 best things from it. So, yeah, you should be scared when Roshi
Comes to
falls
play.
asleep, so to speak.
I'm loving the hand cam. Man, Brian did a great job.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, and he's been iterating
yeah.
over the day, too. So, yeah, we can't throw enough props to Brian Valdez, because he has been acting and reacting and
Oh, yeah.
fucking doing an excellent job. So, thank you again to you,
earlier
sir.
he had the hand cams like one solid view and was switching between them, and I don't blame him for switching off of that because that is hard to do. Being
Probably
someone
having
who's
the spear
done
on
that
the
before.
confrontation, but not having the spear on the time.
So, yeah,
You
exactly.
might regret that later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Happens.
Seeing like he's got a racer cannon in his hand, face crusher, and an elbow drop.
Sure. And again, with perfect information, I bet he would have chosen to sphere the time instead.
Oh, yeah.
You know, had he known. But I suppose the confront would have gotten rid of the sphere in that case anyway. So
Yeah.
he still burned the time, and that's not nothing. Because at some point in this game, it's just going to be about Brawley entering enough times to give Roshi no options left.
Yeah. This matchup also has a really weird dependence on how fast Brawley can get the 2 to get that MP power going.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and because that is an intensely big deal when you consider that both he can truly command control of the board, which he's about to do, and there's always the looming threat of milling a ball with the banish effect, and then restricting Roshi to just anger for his outs for victory.
Mule kick got milled.
So we'll get that Brawley power with no
Oh my
non-combat
Look at
advantage.
these
He doesn't
balls.
have quite the hand
Look at the
left.
ball draws over there.
Wow.
Oh.
It's the one he would have wanted.
Yeah.
So either 2 or 1 probably in that situation. So I can't imagine he's very upset about drawing that ball 2 at that moment.
That was
Yeesh.
just the best time for him to draw it.
No kidding.
That's when you know the Brawley player you couldn't hear him say it, but he said must be nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, I wish my deck treated me that way.
Yeah.
What just happened?
Brawley entered, and I
Oh.
believe he is
Oh,
relaxing for a
okay.
level.
Yeah.
I must have just not heard him say he was entering. All of a sudden, it was just Roshi was going up. It's like, what?
All right, and here we go. Oh, I say he's remembering that he can Roshi a thing. Oh, wait, hold on.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
good.
okay, never mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a very good draw, but he has a 6-card hand. So.
Right, exactly. Pretty hard to
That's
complain
the
about that.
exception. Like, Roshi steals back things like both. Lots of times he just steals back things that, like non-combat cards you can't play as much. Like it's not like he's drawing business all the time. We're very hesitant about taking balls from sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I believe that's a tantrum. He had a sword strike, which
Face.
face crusher.
Yeah, he's
okay.
Broly powering right now.
Which is an interesting choice for a red Roshi.
For sure. And in fact, I don't know. we talk about giving information away a lot with Broly a lot when we have our discussions about how to run that deck, and I don't know that I would have revealed at level 1 at that point. Everybody loves to banish a card, but that was a lot of info to give Rick for not a ton of benefit.
Yeah.
Level 2 would have been a little different story, being able to control the board also. But.
I mean, it's what does he got? 4 balls or 3 balls?
3 balls.
He's got 3 balls, and he has a
radar in his
hand.
hand.
Radar in his hand. So if you could like, it could be game changing if you randomly banish a ball.
Yeah.
Oh sure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't really mind revealing Face Crusher. I usually open with Face Crusher personally.
Right. In fact, I probably would have preferred that to the level 1 power. Like if I were in that seat, I probably would have done that first. But you know. Everybody's got their own styles, especially in different situations, so...
It depends what kind of brawler player you are. If you're the greedy kind, that sometimes you'll try to hit the stages not just to maximize the damage.
Sure. Yeah, and in fact, yeah, there's plenty of situations. Like, I don't think he was necessarily worried about it in this current game state, but, you know, there are plenty of spots where you would just throw your most damaging physical attack to knock them out of range of using stuff stage-wise if it hits through.
Roshi's clearly always an A, so... You know, opening Face Crusher is really not ever a bad play.
Yeah, right. It's a material attack pretty much every time you throw it. Like it pushes real damage. Confrontation.
See, like there would be an example of why you would want to have open with it because
exactly
you would want an extra card.
Yeah, you would have netted the attack plus the card that it would likely give you. So he most likely lost 2 cards worth of advantage by having that confronted. That's an excellent point.
So well.
I know, yeah.
It's kind of like this is like a how-to video on how you block the problem.
Stopping the tantrum? It's tantrum.
Or
right?
trample.
Trample.
Yeah.
Saiyan T card.
Saiyan T.
Mm-hmm.
That's Tyler's card, Saiyan T.
Yep. Exactly. Yep. That's what he's making in set 8. Let's say.
He's got a red escape.
Say Roshi at 0. Probably would not want to change levels this turn.
Yeah.
Now that the trample's out, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anyway. In fact, I think combat is most likely about to be over.
Yeah. Well, he's using.
He's going to retreat.
Yeah, he's
Or retreat, not escape.
Yeah, he's about to bail. Yep. But you know, that's just fine. Don't
Wow,
get
this is the first Roshi build I've seen play Embarrassing Drill.
I like that card. It's not. It doesn't necessarily surprise me one way or the other. I totally like people running it, but it doesn't surprise me that that's a thing that might get cut early in plenty of Red Roshi builds in an attempt to make room for other things. So
Yeah.
I've seen people test it, like a
Oh,
one-up.
he did that out of order.
You retreat so often, you know what I mean, that it's like where you try to recur it, that lots of times you don't get as much use out of it as wish you did.
sure. Oh, do you mean Lorraine? Do you mean the
He
power
gains.
up?
He powered up and then played the.
A pretty minor infraction usually, but I don't know if he was thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a very good hand for the Brawly player over there. He's got time and rescue in hand.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say.
Not the kind of hand Broly
This
wants.
amazing defensive Brawly stack. Yeah, he would want to be pushing as hard as he possibly can, and it's going to be pretty hard to justify that with that particular draw.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of the worst times for your deck to stall on.
Yeah.
For sure. In fact, it'll obviously hinge largely on what his next card is, but I wouldn't be surprised to see Logan pass again next turn just to level. Level uninterrupted.
I know one of the worst feelings ever is when you're a Brawly player and you're like, oh, should I enter? And you pass.
Oh, you got to enter on that eraser cannon on radar. You have to.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Definitely.
and it'll level him when he plays it. So, I hope he doesn't get too in his head and attempts to Brawly power first.
Yeah,
because that could definitely happen, and it would be probably pretty devastating for the rest of this combat. All right, no one enterings. And what's our first move?
He could gamble and go for the forward stance drill.
I guess that's true too.
That'd be so risky.
Yeah, no kidding. Like that's a ballsy ass play. I don't hate it, but it is a grit your teeth and throw a thing kind of move.
That's a DDA Greenleaf play right there.
Watch and learn, people.
But again, I was kind of talking about that in some previous matches. Is you have to evaluate where the current game state is to determine when you should do those kinds of moves. But those are the kind of plays that you have to make if you want to win out over the course of a tournament.
Yeah,
like you have to put yourself out there a little bit, and
he's
he
getting
is.
rid of the forward stance.
Look at this.
Broly's brass balls, fully on display, and it worked out.
It's got to be radar.
So unless he doesn't target the radar.
Info gathering might be good too.
No, it's definitely the radar for sure. It's not even a question.
I prefer radar here. I'm not going to say it's 100% the play, but I would say it's close to 90.
Destiny, interesting.
Not the worst choice. I mean, Destiny's really strong too.
He's just trying to prevent him from leveling.
Yeah, wants to keep him.
Keep
down.
those stages that he knocked down. Yeah, I don't love that, but we'll see if it works out for him.
It makes me so happy that he chose the forward stance drill.
Right. No, I like that play. I appreciate the shit out of attempting to pull that off, and it worked out. Yeah, we'll still see if that radar comes back to bite him, because that gives Roshi a lot of options, including just like even going to tutor ball 6 and stuffing some more damage that way. I don't think that's what he's going to do with it, but it's one of the things he could do.
Well, we'll
then
see.
again,
We'll
if he's using it in this action, maybe that is exactly what he's going to do.
Yeah, he's stopping on 6.
Yeah.
I mean, he really does not want the other balls captured, so.
Yeah, I mean.
I say if he's going for 7, I hate doing it. I can't imagine that he maybe he tried to pivot himself. He's like, oh, I could get 7, but that would not be the action to go get it in this combat.
No.
So yeah, 6 is fine there. It's the safest play he probably had in that moment.
Ooh, nice hits.
Now this is interesting.
Both guys are going to go for the grab.
Yeah, I would go for grab, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Grab is the obvious choice. It's prolonged combo.
Just thinking
That's a
about
tough
it.
call. Those are some good choices there.
Yeah.
No lie. That was not a hitter.
Yeah, I don't hate that either. That's probably the right choice. Like you said, he's got to really start hitting the gas. So that card should help facilitate that.
That's a retreat in his hand.
He's gonna pass. I don't think he has a retreat.
I can't see that other card. It looks like a retreat. I'm not sure what it is.
Actually, he's shuffling his hand so quickly I can't quite tell either.
Yeah, I can't. Damn it!
No, he passed, so here's the grab. Say that'll do 5 exactly right, plus and minus the ball and his power.
Oh, he does. He does have a
He has
retreat.
a retreat in his hand, right? But I don't know his deck. Maybe he ran out of drills.
That's
yeah,
true.
quite possible.
He did have both forward stances. Too.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no. Didn't he rejuvenate one?
I'm not sure. I know one is banished, and then the other was in the discard.
Yeah, I don't
might
remember.
have gotten
I don't remember if he rejuvenated that turn. He definitely pitched one at the end of a turn.
I mean, I can't really see him wanting to stay in this.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
sure what he has to gain exactly, other than taking a few more lumps and possibly losing a Dragon Ball or more.
He just
see.
mule kicked, right?
I mean, he's letting Brawley get the 3. I don't see any realistic desire for him to be like, I want to hang around. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine he has any drills left. In fact, there goes
Yeah.
a forward stance drill from the discard pile, so that was probably the other one that he had pitched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he must be empty on drills, and he's just going to have to grin and
He's gonna
bear it.
have
But there's
to-
a very realistic chance that this game could be over this turn.
Maybe. If Logan only has 1 card in his hand, then he can't draw, so it'll probably shorten it.
Sure, but if the Brawly Power hits through, or the other attack that he might be holding, all he has to do is steal ball 3, which looks like it's about to happen.
Oh.
Yeah, in fact, exactly a ball 3's worth of damage.
This might have just turned into the not so bad to the suck.
But again, here's a chance to maybe he'll go for ball 6, which I strongly disagree with that but
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
That would feel awful.
People can
You
trip
don't,
each other up.
the 2
trip themselves up
damage is
sometimes.
whatever at this point.
Yeah.
Your attacks are coming in for like 10 to 11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You just want as many cards as you can put on the table. That's what he wants to do right now. So
You're not
grab ball
trying
3, then get ball 5, and then work backwards from there.
Yeah.
Hope he's keeping up with all the strength tests.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if
Wow.
He got them when he leveled up. Like, that's how that forward stance drill got banished. So
Oh.
I think he's close to... That hand is all right.
Banishing Roshi's Yard is kind of important.
Man.
Sword strike? Or is that backer?
That's a backbreaker and a sword
Yeah.
strike and some third card.
Face crusher, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a face crusher.
Man.
Attacks, absolutely.
Goodness.
He has mule kick in his hand though. He doesn't know that he's drawing a backbreaker.
No, he
though.
played a mule kick.
I say he played a mule kick,
Yeah,
and
he
I think he
played it.
didn't even
Mule kick
target
chose
the...
not to banish it.
Right, maybe he just wasn't thinking about it.
A high number of players don't banish with mule kick the opposing cards. They're only using it for wall breakers.
Sure.
They
Yeah,
can
yeah.
banish other cards.
Yeah, people get tripped up by that stuff. They're like, I run this card for this specific scenario, and then when that scenario doesn't present itself, they sometimes forget effects like that.
Mule kick's such an amazing card, but people were always tunnel vision to wall breaker. It's all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And probably upcoming format, probably tunnel vision to
Sure.
Edge arm breaker too.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like he put the backbreaker back, or... Okay, he opted for... So he's got
Yeah,
a
sword strike.
strike.
Going straight
Yeah.
to death.
13.
That does a little bit of damage.
Logan, man, he does real man plays.
Unstoppable, unpreventable. You can't go wrong with
He's
that.
just like
I say they're having... I don't think Rick was sure how Sword Strike works. Yeah, okay.
oh my.
And in fact, if I were... This sure looks like it's over, but I would have maybe taken my time and assessed the information a little more if I were Logan before making that final ball 3 selection, but I feel like it might not matter. We'll see.
Yeah. If he draws anything that does damage right now, this game's over.
And even if he doesn't, this combat's going to end. Roshi's going to be at level 2. He's going to have a minimum of 2 balls under Broly's control.
Yeah.
And he'll have like a handful of cards left in his life deck. So this seems like a matter of time situation to me.
Dustin, did you see him use Brawly Power to draw?
No, he used Brawly Power with 1 card in hand, and that was the attack that I believe hit for exactly 5 that allowed him to capture the ball 3.
Yeah.
But then he didn't use it after. He used the Sword Strike instead of Brawly Power to draw.
Yeah. No, he used the Brawly Power to crit.
He just used it as an attack. He didn't reveal, because he only had 1 card.
Yeah, he didn't reveal him. So I just didn't notice him use the power yet. I thought he
Yeah, that face strike's going to send him straight up.
Sure. For more straight-up unpreventable damage.
Yeah.
It's GG right here.
This is the Brawler that we've all known to come in low.
Something like that.
It's only won like almost every single OP creature. So
So it'll do 8. Yeah,
Yeah. 8.
I got it. Unpreventable damage.
the tug flipped and he looked and he pointed to Brawly like I can't banish it. Right?
Right? Can I just remove your MP? Is that how this card works?
Okay.
He's basically an ally, right? He's an ally and an MP at the same time.
Like that, like I can win now? No? Okay.
This is just
Okay,
sick.
yeah, exactly. Rick says, seriously? That's what it feels like when you're getting your ass kicked by Broly anything. Like, it's like, seriously?
Well, I mean,
I
think
thought you already
about
had
it,
8
like-
actions this turn.
Like,
It's only because he drew so well in the
Yeah.
beginning
yeah,
that
yeah,
he
yeah.
probably was like, I'm looking really good.
Sure.
You know what I mean? To win this.
Mm.
But against Brawly, it's like 1 turn and you die.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, that's an interesting part of the way the game is played currently that I'm really interested to see how things change up once Awakening comes out, because I feel like those kind of victories are going to be more likely, not less, which
And
I'm not a
spin
huge
kick
fan
to
of,
death.
but that's a personal preference to some extent.
Cool.
But yeah, that's going to do it. Man.
Ouch.
Yeah, that was one combat.
Yeah.
I'm saying that exactly. That's all you. Like I said, he tanked through the time. Like
Oh.
he tanked through just like Roshi building a light board, and then just it's touch of death. Broly hit confirms in the right turn, and then the game ends. Man, that was something else.
Roshi hit some god draws early on too, though. Like him.
Oh
on
yeah,
his own,
that first draw was nuts.
Just Broly.
But that's the liability of. I mean, and that's part of the
yeah.
reason like decks that are closer to straight ball decks and Roshi decks have tailed off. Is that it's just hard to manage. It's almost impossible to manage something like a Saiyan or Ruthless Broly over the course of an entire game. The way that those decks like to play themselves, like the way that they try to basically minimize the amount of damage they take on any given turn, and it's just things like that happen.
Oh yeah.
Like one combat too many, where you can't keep up, and then that's it.
I mean, hopefully, Broly kind of slows down a little bit with power on. That's actually a really good thing. And it's doesn't control the same level that power does.
Yeah, Logan actually hit some really timely racer cannons there in the beginning of the game. I think he got 2 of them off pretty good.
Well, he got one that was blocked by time, and then the second one, he like, go, guy, do this, and then DDA was channeled.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So who's in it to win it right now? Who's making top cut? You know?
I'm not sure. I haven't been keeping up with the general standings, so I'm not sure how people on site are doing in general. But
at the very least, it seems like if this is the last round, this Broly is 1,000%.
Well, I mean, in fact, both of these players,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that Roshi's going to get in with 6-1, losing to a 7-0. So maybe they'll meet again later on in cut. We shall see. But yeah, otherwise, I'm not sure. I've been too focused on trying to keep the stream alive.
I think Logan shook his hand at the end and said, "Don't worry, bro. You're still gonna catch them all." I don't know. He might have.
Let's just say
nice
that's what happened.
That's probably the Dragon Balls of the Roshi deck. That's probably what he does. He's like, I catch them all. He says, when he wins by Dragon Ball victory, he says, I caught them all.
Right, I caught them all. Oh man.
You could just take that name and run like a whole like commentary on that. They could be like interview him at the end of the thing if he wins. Like, how do you feel, Rick? Well, you know, I really want to be the very best.
That's right. Yeah.
Rick, do you pick Charmander as your start?
Oh man. Good stuff. But yeah, like a brutal game, just like every Broly game kind of seems like it does turn into a brutal game at some point. That's just the way that those decks win.
Yeah, it's funny because the Awakening has so many new, really crazy MPs coming out of it, and Broly's probably still going to be pretty tier 1 after it settles. He's still going to be up there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think Broly will still be super playable in Awakening. I think Cell... I'll be interested to see how people try to break down on Cell decks, because I don't think he's going to be like the thing that people are super stoked about in Awakening, but I could totally see him finding a place once like things have shaken out a little bit and everybody's off of trying like, oh, I'm just going to build 10 Vegeta decks and 10 Gohan decks and 10 Goku decks. And then after I do all those things, I'm going to check out what some of these other MPs have to offer.
There's definitely some people that are going to build 10 Trunks deck. I mean, this guy's already halfway there.
Sure, yeah, why not? The new Trunks deck is really interesting. I definitely don't hate it, but it just feels a little weird to me. Like they built basically 2 halves of a stack. Because the level 1 is fine, period. Like nobody minds getting extra anger. And then the level 2 basically ties in like explicitly with the level 1 from Vengeance.
Yeah.
And then the other ones are just pure anger again. Like it's just kind of a funny way they took it. I don't dislike it, but it's just a little weird.
Well, I wouldn't call the new 3 pure anger, because I feel like Aggro Beats could really use that new 3 as well.
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's definitely not a bad choice. Like, the problem with that is just all his level 3s are so playable.
It's
that
true.
coming down to choosing the right one will maybe even just be a matter of personal preference if you're just building a Trunks beatdown deck.
Or like metacall even, like how the environment plays out.
Because Trunks 3 has Trunks 3 from Evolution has perfect utility at any point in combat. Like you can just go
yeah.
fetch the thing you need when you need it. Trunks 3 from set 1 just has raw card draw power. Like he's old Android 18, which is a little nuts. And then the new one is beefy as hell, so you sort of can't go wrong. But
I mean, if you're going to MPPV, the new 3 seems like the best call because of the anger protection that he provides.
sure.
But like it's when you like go to build a Trunks deck, you say to yourself, am I going to be wanting to level in combat a lot? Because maybe the Evolution 3 might make more sense.
You can go more aggressive with the Evolution 3 and combo more anger.
Yeah, you
like
can.
you can do a shoulder grab. Well, I guess shoulder grab doesn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
Sure, but I mean, your point is still totally valid. That like that's how versatile it is. It doesn't provide anger explicitly, obviously, but in any given scenario, you can use it to turn a card into anger or extra damage or whatever. Like, and in some cases, be defensive depending on if you're running builds that have actions that can be a little that can give you stages or prevent damage or stop attacks. With stuff like.
Yeah, I mean, I like the new Trunks stack a lot. It's definitely it could definitely NPPV like pretty fast because in the new format he'll be able to go to 2 in one action in a few different masteries.
Yeah.
So it's plausible if you want to do Trunks NPPV. I feel like that stack is really geared towards that, especially with the 4 and the 1. The 2 is very just generically good because a free physical block that can gain anger that does reduce sword cards. That's very
and
real.
you gain you gain critical damage.
Yeah, that's really good like all around.
Yeah, I know, I agree, and it's the weirdest thing about a stack is that like I said, it's just sort of strange that level 2 is in there like that. But that new Trunks level 2 is actually one of my favorite individual levels of an MP. Like I just think it's really weirdly put together in like a super cool way. I really like the block on like a true block on an MP power, and it's got just enough around it to make it really compelling. Beside that, but yeah.
Needless to say, I'm gonna have a million Trunks decks.
Right on. I can't wait to see how many future cards we get that are simulated sword cards. Whatever set 8 is, I expect there to be more than one non-sword card that might be a sword card. So we'll see if that silly trend continues.
I want Gohan's sword sweep. That's what I want.
Sure, yeah, exactly. They'll do that again. They did that in the old game. We finally got around to Mystic Gohan and and all that stuff.
Hey, speaking of my chat, Mike, we're actually tuning into the Cubicorn. That's how you say it, right? Cubicorn?
Yep.
Cubicorn Games stream. That's who's on stream, who's commentating with me right now. It's Dustin and Lorraine Morbido. Cubicorn Games.
Yep.
Yeah, right on. Having a good old time. About preparing for Top Cut, which will be soon.
Yeah. Brian Valdez said he'll put it up when he's got it.
Oh, for sure. And in fact, I would say, like, unless you guys have somewhere to be, let's just stay on and kick it until Top Cut is announced.
Sounds good. I have something planned at 8 o'clock.
Okay, that's fine. You tell me. I'll be on until you guys are ready to go take your evening to the next level. But so give me the heads up when you guys are moving on, because like Lorraine had said. Well, maybe everybody had said, you started your 24 hours like an hour or so ago, right? So you've got a whole lot of streaming left in you.
Very true.
So yeah, you guys let us know. But yeah, we'll just chill and kind of... I'd be interested to hear what else you guys think. Like, take Trunks out of the equation, because obviously you're definitely going to have a soft spot in your heart for Trunks anyway. What's the next MP? Like, pick an MP from Awakening that, like, I can't wait to either play that myself or, see what other people do with it. Like, what are you guys feeling right now?
Vegeta. I mean, he finally got a good stack. So I'm really excited. I have 2 Vegeta decks in mind right now. Kelly Dennis thinks... What do you think about Conflict Mastery? Because Kelly first was on it, and then he played it with it a little bit, and now he thinks it absolutely is terrible.
I mean, I'm still somewhere in between. Like, I don't think it...
conflicted.
I guess you could say that. Yes.
I'm the worst. I'm sorry.
I'll have to wait until I get my fingers on stuff and the set's actually out to weigh in, because unfortunately I just haven't had the time to do any pregame testing. So I have yet to personally play a single Awakening game. It's been just a lot of theory crafting when I have an idle hour or two. And I'm sitting in the shower thinking like, all right, what are the top like 3 or 4 builds I'm gonna put together, and I just start building lists in the back of my mind, while doing other stuff. But yeah, I'm not prepared to weigh in one way or the other, but I could see it going either way. And it's gonna depend on what other people come up with too, because even if in a vacuum, it is totally okay if the builds that other people lean towards tend to kind of snuff it out a little bit, then it's not going to really matter, right? So we'll need at least one major probably before that gets even close to settled.
Yeah. Hey, some of the best deck ideas probably came out of the shower, bro.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Why not both?
Just don't bring the cards in the shower.
But I think what a lot of people ran into with the conflict mastery is that they were so used to devious, in their head, they think, oh, I'm going to discard a card from my hand and discard a card from my opponent's hand. So they read conflict mastery and they're like, oh, I'm going to discard a card from my hand to gain an anger. Oh, that's so broke with Black Command. I gained 3 anger, but they don't realize they're trading a card.
Yeah. Oh, sure. And that was my gut reaction to it, was like when I saw it, I was like, well, that is definitely, like, in terms of if you look at the effects of both cards and you hold them up next to each other, it's nowhere near devious in terms of like raw economy, like the power you get for trading a card from your hand.
Yeah.
But the whole playfield's going to change. Like all the old masteries are going to go out, and we don't know, we don't quite know what's going to come up. Once the rest of Awakening hits, so it's really hard to evaluate holistically how good it'll be. But yeah, on the face of it, yeah, not even close. It's just not there.
When I was looking at when we were testing, conflict mastery a little bit, one of the conundrums is that they made a bunch of rares that mimic devious mastery. So discard this black card to make the other guy discard a card.
Sure.
And obviously when you're looking at conflict, the first thing that pops in your mind is, well, I can empty with you. I still got all those 2 anger attacks, still got all those 2 anger blocks. Sounds saucy. I have a discard outlook command. Awesome. Then you run into this conundrum when you're playing it. You're kind of like, okay, I have that card that lets me discard a card from the other guy, and I have a command, but I can only discard one of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is where it kind of sucks.
That's where Overhead Burst comes in.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but you can run all these other cards like Overhead Burst, or there's probably a few of them, but it's like 6 one, half dozen the other. I mean, I think Overhead Burst, that's an effect too, isn't it?
Yeah.
So they can just block it.
Yeah, I have. I'm reading it now. But another thing that I think you're really going to have to utilize both the stage gain and the anger. Kind of like how Perceptive is, you need to utilize both the stage gain and the anger to make use of the mastery.
Oh yeah,
but
for sure.
With Vegeta, specifically, you could gain the anger, level, and then dodge out of combat, so you're not so much feeling the effects of losing the card in your hand. Like if you level to 3 or level to 4, get that pass,
sure,
and dodge out of combat.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a big. I can't wait to see how people lean in that respect too. When it comes specifically to the Vegeta stack, whether more builds are going to be about camping at level 1, or more builds are going to be about truly accessing how unique his level, those passing powers are at his higher levels. Because level 2 is kind of the place you don't want to be with Vegeta. It's sort of anything else.
Yeah, it's his weakest level.
So it does gain you anger though. So while it's his weakest level, it pushes you to 3.
It's more like his weakest level knows it's the weakest level, so it's trying to get you out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I don't think it's necessarily bad, but I mean it just doesn't quite stack up to the things he's capable of at the other levels he can access.
I mean, honestly, the biggest aspect of understanding this metagame and the new format is going to be entirely dependent on the plethora of clarifications that they need to do regarding things like Dynamite Kick and tons of interactions, Baba plus Red Inferno. There's a ton of them that need to be clarified, and we won't really know what it's going to really look like until they actually, make these rulings.
For
because it changes tons of card effects. Dynamite Kick with Sand Energy Focus, Baba, Red Inferno.
Right.
I swear that somebody said that out of combat crits are bad for the game, and that's what Baba Red Inferno does.
Sure.
So until they clarify it, you know what I mean? It's gonna. Things are not still in the air.
Yeah. I highly doubt that it's going to be per card.
I really hope so.
I highly doubt it. 3 crits every time you draw.
Sure, yeah, even saying that sentence out loud, hearing you speak it made me uncomfortable. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's awful. And yet at the same time, it's like that until they clarify.
Yeah.
Well,
You know what I mean? Like the way you play test is
House
funny.
rules.
Yeah, like some people right now that I know are testing like when they play Hercule, they're throwing out dynamite kicks and then they're playing enhanced like it gets rid of. And some people are not. Some people are using the adaptation crushing move ruling to where it doesn't do anything, it goes back into the deck. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's still like wonky. Some people are
yeah.
energy focused just so they can hit dynamite kick while it's on the field, and then it discards. Like it just goes to the yard, so it loses all effects, and it says effects on energy focus, but they don't know if it shuffles back in or not.
But the thing is, parentheticals aren't effects.
They are effects.
No, they're not.
They're not card effects.
Oh
They
boy.
Semantics, man.
Oh god.
Hercule can die to mill or something now.
Okay, I got you.
That's why he can die to mill, remember?
Right.
Yeah, you're far off.
I am.
Man, when you get into and again, some of these are sort of original sin kind of things when you talk about how they were wording cards in set 1 and set 2 or whatever, but some of the some of the nuance of the way that effects are worded and function in DBZ, like I still have issues with the level of approachability that this game has without like the things that you have to read up on and learn that aren't immediately clear from just reading the cards in front of you. Like there are still quite a few of those at this point.
And that's what things are. That's what things like this are good for.
Oh sure,
Tune,
yeah, exactly.
Tune into the stream and learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, watch people play online, watch us talk about it, watch YouTube videos where you guys do stuff like break down, an entire new MP stack or a bunch of new cards or whatever. Like, absolutely.
Oh, that reminds me. What do you think of the Cell Juniors?
I had sat on. I saw Cell Junior, and I kind of shrugged my shoulders, and then I thought about it for a little bit, and shrugged my shoulders again. And it was mostly because of the allies themselves, because I like a lot of things about the MP stack. I think that level 1 is one of the coolest level 1s that they've ever made. Like, it's a really unique, really weird effect. But the allies are just so underwhelming that, like, it's hard to justify the deck based on that means. Because I like the way that he works with them, but they just seem so mediocre that I'm not sure if that will snuff him out of the environment or not. But I kind of hope not. Like, I think there's some cool ideas in that stack.
Yeah, I guess the idea is that you don't really want the allies to play ever.
Yeah, you want to be cycling them and stuff
right,
like
that they're just a constant resource that you pivot through over the course of the game. And yeah, I get that too. But like, it's just like, I don't know, there's a lot of specific decisions. Like, the one that performs an attack, the attack is pretty bad. You still have to hit 0 to use it, and it clears your board of allies. Like, all 3 of those things, it does.
On the name card.
No, there's a Cell Junior that it has a physical stage attack.
Right, yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Number 1, it's only 5 stages, I think.
It's 5 plus X.
Whoa.
But what it does say is that no allies, after you use it,
Yeah.
other allies can't do anything.
Right.
Like the rest of the combat. And then I think if it hits, it like shuffles all of them back in the deck.
Correct.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I recall. Like I think it either does 4 or 5 base plus the number of Cell Juniors, and yeah, that on its face is just so like. I would have tweaked that card such that it just had a little more variety. Like I would have left it maybe exactly with that text, but then allowed you to use it if you're above 0, just so you could throw it out as like a kind of middling attack that still has all those drawbacks. I would have maybe made the part that shuffles or the part that says you can't use other ally attacks a hit effect. So then you're like, I don't know, there's just a million little ways. Whenever I see cards that are kind of like that, I come up with a million different ways. Like, if this was tweaked just a little bit, I would love it a ton more.
Yeah.
I mean, I 100% agree with Dustin. The Cell Junior, I think there's one that's good, and it's the one that looks like it's going to get ripped in half. It's Trapped.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's good because he has -1 if you're Cell, which makes it playable in Cell, and then increases your mill effects by 1 if he's the only ally. Which is usually that's fine because the -1 in this, in this metagame is probably gonna be pretty big because Resolute is a thing. So it's fine.
That's a nice looking shot. Like
the other 2 guys just seem like trash.
Shot
like
on stream. Oh, wow.
like the guy that leaves play and lets you banish him to mill 1, he doesn't even do that to himself. You have to you have to move his butt out of there for him to banish and mill 1. Like it seems so underwhelming. 100% agree with Dustin.
Yeah, and in fact, like, that one specifically, just, like, I can't believe the penalty is so he can't gain stages, and that part I don't even hate about those allies. Like, that's okay. I don't mind that.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a power on his own, and then his leaving play power, you still are punished by, like, you even have to banish it once it leaves play. So it has to come out, it has to leave play, and then you have to throw it out of the game to get a 1-card mill effect.
Yeah. So the interaction is supposed, like, in an ideal world, it's like those guys are supposed to work with Cell more than anything else, because Cell has all these effects. It's like the first 2 levels all get guys out, and then search them out. So you're like, okay, so get out the one that increases my mill, and then somehow get out the one that banishes himself when he leaves, and then you use the Cell power to, like, raise your anger 2, and then get rid of that dude, banish him, and then mill the other guy 2. You know what I mean? It's just like, but you had to do a lot of work to get a mill 2 out of that.
Right.
Like,
yeah, a lot of, exactly, like the card economy's off there. Like, the amount of hoops you have to jump through to mill 2 cards is a little excessive. And I just wanted to, because I was double checking, because I had to remember when I looked at the one that buffs mill effects, the -1 life card modifier is only if your MP is Cell, and that was the part that bummed me out the most about
Cell Junior.
About Cell Junior MP stack, because I was like, I can't believe that they didn't give that MP stack that part of the power.
Yeah, but you could have 3 of them in play, so you could do -3. I mean,
No, you can't. You can still only control 1 at a time.
Really?
Yeah, you can only control 1 of each, but you can run up to 3 of each.
And you have 3 copies of each in your deck.
I got you.
Right.
So you can't, like, stack them, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, exactly. You can have up to 3 Cell Juniors in play at any given time, and it has to be 1 of each one.
Yeah, different surnames. But
Yeah.
it's all, like, I feel like the Cell Juniors have more synergy with Cell than they actually do with Cell Junior, the MP. Like,
Yeah.
I don't, outside of, like, the synergy is based on the fact of the Cell Juniors being in your hand, being playing. So.
They must be announcing Top Cut right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's see if we can hear.
Cheering.
Say, can you guys hear them pretty well? I could try to crank it up on our end, but otherwise, Lorraine and I can just be quiet, and if you can hear who they're reading out, just read it to the stream. I can't make out who they're calling. I'm sure it'll be on the blog in a matter of minutes, so hopefully we'll know very shortly.
Brian will
Down there, right?
update us.
It's
Matt
interesting to
Whiston,
see these
he was
California
on stream.
players. Like, I see faces I've never seen before. Like, see people I've never seen.
Oh, for sure. And that kind of stuff, it's both, right? Like, I love going to tournaments and seeing the people I do know, but for the health and the growth of the game, I hope I keep seeing people that I've never seen before. Like, I want people to hopefully be able to, come in and pick up cards and, like, actually start playing this game, from nothing. Like, I'd love to see more new players come in.
That's a great perspective.
And that's still the struggle I go through when I talk about, like, some of the approachability to how some cards work. I think a lot about if I was a person who either had no card game experience or, had some but had never played this game before, how counterintuitive are some of these weird interactions? Like, how likely do I feel like this interaction would make me just want to throw my hands up and just, like, well, I bought a starter deck and, like, I played 2 or 3 games, but I just didn't get it or wasn't feeling it and just kind of threw in the towel.
I guess you can have multiple of the same one out on the board.
Is that
That's
true?
what the chat's saying was on the blog post.
Okay, I'll defer. I haven't confirmed, so I'll defer to them for now, but that's not what I assumed. That's not how I assumed it would work, but maybe that's correct. I don't know. But anyway, the last thing I'll say on that is that that to me, on top of it just being like a theoretical nightmare in plenty of scenarios, when it comes to weird, like all the weird issues I've cited with people have cited with things like time games and stuff like that, I kind of hate the dynamite kick stuff, because if I was not familiar with this game and I ran into a Hercule deck and it did that, like, I would just be upset fundamentally. Like, it would feel like they are breaking the law. And even if the deck might not, like, I don't know how good or bad Hercule builds will be in general, but the point is when that interaction happens, it feels unintuitive and it feels unfair to some extent.
You basically need to know about Hercules' existence while you're building your deck.
For sure.
Yeah.
You have to keep it in mind. And then, try to rationalize spending the money on Fury of Blows.
Right.
Which won't even be that effective against him.
Only if you know how to play it, right? Like at the end.
Yeah, you have to wait till.
Yeah, you have to wait till the late game. Otherwise, it's like useless.
Yeah, that card's interesting. I like Fury of Blows. Like, it's a very unique card, but I think people in general are a little hotter on it than I am personally. Like, people who are going out like, oh, this is just a staple. Like, I don't see that at all. And, you know, I guess we'll see how the meta breaks down and how people end up building stuff. But, people seem to be going a little nuts on it, in my opinion, in terms of how awesome they think it's going to be. But it's a neat card.
I think it's pretty close to a staple in DBV decks.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and I can see that specifically being closer to the truth for certain. That card adds a lot to those builds.
Yeah, I mean, Krillin's really not around as much, but Resolute Krillin might be around.
Yeah.
Assisted Kamehameha will be around.
Yeah. I think both of them. Resolute Krillin, man. It's coming.
Yeah, I don't hate that deck. Like, that's a thing that I'm interested in. I can't tell you how it'll fare. Like, when it comes to stacking up against, like, all the new MPs and all the things that they're capable of, but it sure sounds cool on paper.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be hard it's hard to rationalize Krillin the Goku.
Narrow escape disc. Resolute Mastery to draw into disc.
Yeah, you can do it. You can do that with Assisted, too, if it got built. It's just like, at the end of the day, though, you know, Goku's powers are just very huge. The -1 and the +1.
Oh, sure, and that's the other reason, that's the other thing I can't wait to see, in terms of when people build those Vegeta decks and they decide which way to lean. Because building a Vegeta deck that attempts to camp at level 1 basically stuffs half of all Goku's like higher level interesting powers in terms of the modifier.
Yeah, I got two Vegeta builds right now. I got tag team that camps level 1 and just swarms the field with allies.
Sure.
And then I have conflict that levels a lot. Lots of leveling.
Do you have a preference yet for one or the other? Like, is there one of those that you prefer, or is it too early to tell?
I haven't even played. I played the tag a little bit, and I do like the tag. I think it has a ton of potential.
Yeah, he really likes the tag. I'm talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, just Chen for 5, draw into Crushing Beam for 8. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, just tagging out Brief on turn 1 makes anybody happy.
Exactly. If you get out Brief's first turn, you are Resolute Goku.
Right, yeah. I'm saying.
Yeah. You're Resolute Goku with a 3 life card energy that banishes a card.
I mean, there's something to be said for how good Goku is. You have to do that to equal him.
Hey, tag team mastery, man. It's equaling the best mastery in the game.
I mean, it's certainly... Station is certainly improved given that Protective is leaving the field. So, like, I would say that both Blue Masteries seem definitely playable in Awakening meta, and then we'll kind of see how things break down. Because New Blue is basically like the standards bearer for just like all around, just everything about this is pretty good. Like,
yes.
Like, it does all the good things, and it's just very versatile. So it's, on some level, it's sort of the new Devious.
Yes. We're 100% true. Correct,
it is
sir.
The new Devious, yeah, totally.
You're 100% true. Correct, sir. Right on the money.
It's like instead of hand like manipulation and hand curbing, you get hand cycling.
Sure, and Blue, like you said, Blue has a ton of effects. It has Narrow Escape, it has Crouch, it has Blanketing Blasts, it has Positioning Drill. It has so many things that also make that awesome.
I mean, it's just like in Devious, you're like, okay, I discard a command, make you discard a card, I got 2 anger. See how I plus there? You're like, okay, that's awesome. In Resolute, you're like, I discard a guard, I draw 2 cards, and your next attack is nullified. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb.
Yeah,
and that's when you perform I'll Dig Your Grave.
That's the whole...
For sure. Yeah, I predict we'll see a lot of New Blue next set. It might even be the thing that people immediately pivot to. Like, that might be, like, versions of that might be the deck that people come up with, you know, in a vacuum until, like, builds start to shake out and, like, people with really unique, really creative stuff start to bring more complex things to the fold.
It's true. It's very true.
So do you think, Dustin, you think that we're going to be seeing some Nappa and Turles come back in the meta?
You know, I don't know. I hope so, especially Nappa, because like, wouldn't it be great to ever have a Nappa deck, like, to ever face a Nappa deck again?
Clench decks are real, man. Clench decks will kill you in 2 combats.
Yeah, and that's still another one of those. That's another thing where I don't know how I feel about it, because I like the idea of buffing those old MPs. But yeah, that's just another, like, look, if they're running that, especially with Turles, because he adds the unpreventable modifier onto, like, all your stuff that really hits hard. Like, if you're running that, you can just draw into a kill hand in turn 1, maybe. Like, and even if you don't actually kill them, like, even if you don't mill their entire deck, you know, I'm going to enter, and maybe if I draw just the right sequence of cards, I can do, like, 45 in the first combat.
It's happened to me. I've taken 40 cards of life in one
time.
turn for Clench deck. Turn 1 Nappa. You know, it can happen.
Well, it kind of makes you feel like Unleashed Brawly can do that. Like if Brawly draws an Unleashed or an attached card and Unleashed or a Body Blow and Unleashed first turn, they can almost kill you. So.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong, and that's definitely true that kind of thing is already prevalent in the meta, and that's, I think we're gonna have our giant once we finally get back together with, like, probably like 2 weeks-ish with Phil and Kyle, and
when
maybe
we get the full list.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 other people. We'll do our, like, full set breakdown thing and look over every card. But the thing that I'm feeling right now, without having seen quite the whole set yet, is that they took the general cadence of the game slightly in a direction that, like, I might have pivoted to the opposite, because I feel like we're already in a relatively heavy beatdown meta. And as opposed to, like, I thought they might try to course correct a little bit in Awakening, like, before having seen even a single card from the set, and be like, all right, now we're gonna, like, we're kind of back off a little bit, and we're gonna kind of give control its due, and hopefully we'll land somewhere in the middle. And I feel like they sort of just, like, ever so slightly tick the knob even further towards aggression.
Well, here's the thing with that, though. They did release Hercule, so Hercule in itself pushes the meta away from beatdown. And then they did also release a lot of MPPV and Dragon Ball Victory support too.
Yeah, and the MPPV stuff is definitely a good point, and it'll be interesting how stuff breaks down. Like if people decide that they try to run or that they want to run Dragon Ball Victory decks, but I can't wait to see that stuff. I hope people do come out with that. But in terms of Hercule, I kind of don't like that for the same reason. Like I said, even like it's definitely true that you have to be mindful of that and take it into account, like the fact that Hercule exists and he works that way in a beatdown environment. But the way that he specifically stuffs beatdown is the part that I don't like, because I prefer the game, like, I would prefer a version of the game that is more tempo-y in general, where, like, you know, probably my ideal, if I were to make up a number of, like, the number of combats that would happen in a given single game of Dragon Ball Z, I would say, like, ideally be between, like, 3 and 5. Like, you kind of want both players to have plenty of opportunities to make decisions, like to throw down and, like, declare a combat or 2 on their own, and, like, make decisions on a combat-by-combat basis. And the closer the game gets to, like, purely blowing people up, the less likely that is to happen. And the unfortunate part about Hercule is that can still happen. It just like, he just stuffs you at the very end. So they can still totally blow you up, but you just probably won't die immediately, and then it becomes this weird, like, bullshit waiting game of...
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just... That's just my opinion, and I can't wait to see what ultimately comes out, but...
I agree with you. I don't know, I feel like they, when they design things and look at things, and they want to make new things and support new guys, I always feel like they're more concerned with making MPs viable than steering the metagame in a certain direction. Like, they don't really care if it's heavy beatdown. They just want people to be able to play Nap and Turles again and Slug.
They're extremely thematic to the show, I think.
Yeah, they're really flavorful.
Yeah.
Very flavorful.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, and I can see that. And in fact, I think that's 100% accurate, especially when you look at, like, a few sets before this. Like, when you, probably from Perfection on, like, I feel like they were dedicated to the idea of, we are both going to we're going to try to make every single new stack shine, and occasionally, you know, drip some stuff in to bring some of those old stacks to the front. And that definitely does seem like more of a priority to me from the design team, like from what they seem to have tried to achieve, than to just try to balance, you know, the meta holistically. And I'm not going to say that that's the wrong decision to make, but it's interesting.
I mean, if nothing else, when they did the Frozen list and they said very blatantly that they'll never put an NP on the Frozen list, it was a clear indication that it's like one of the things that they always want to do is make like every MP as viable as they can to get the most diverse metagame they can create. You know what I mean? Like it seems like a very clear intentional thing to want to be like, we want Majin Buu to be able to fight Nappa on an equal playing field one day.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I totally see that, and I don't really mind that. And, it's gonna take probably a set or two once the Frozen list is out to really see the how things shake out with that stuff. But overall, I'm super in favor. Like, I'm so glad that they did that because it makes people shift a little bit.
Awesome.
It makes people be more creative. You got to keep iterating. You got to make new stuff. I'm all about the Frozen list.
Sometimes you got to stir the pot to make that innovation come out.
For sure. Sometimes you got to separate the fatty, original Black Mastery out of your Dragon Ball Z card game stew.
Yeah. I really like the Frozen list. I thought it was a great idea.
Yeah, I think that's great, and I can't wait to see like how they end up treating it after. Probably on the other side of next year.
The Frozen list and how it develops is gonna shape this whole game.
Yeah,
like they could go in very many directions with it. They could not like change it that much. They could just kind of have it be static for a little while. Mm-hmm. They could change it quickly. They could like throw a bunch of cards on there and really change the metagame.
For sure, and yeah, they could do the whole set thing. They'll be like, all right, well, everything from set 1 is out or whatever, or they could do sort of like they did with that targeted like smoothest drill restriction. Like maybe they'll make, all right, here's a list of like 10 to 20 cards that like we kind of want to suck these out of the environment to see what they'll do.
I mean, you can see a trend. Like, there's definitely cards that were not reprinted in Evolution, and it doesn't look like they're going to be, like, if you notice that there are cards from set 1 that are not being reprinted again in this starter set, you can, hazard a guess that it's probably going to hit the Frozen list at some point.
Sure.
Like Black Command.
Blue Guard might hit it.
Yeah.
Blue Guard is one that I think. Command, is another one. They clearly are loving defensive burst for a good long time, so that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some PowerPoint, but that's a Gen Con for reprint.
Yeah, assuming promos count, which I think we're all under the assumption that they will, for now. That PowerPoint was one of the Gen Con promos, so that thing's not going anywhere. At least for a little bit.
I feel like Defensive Burst and Energy Web are define Black style in the same way that Hybrid Defense defines Namekian style. So I don't think either of those are going to go.
Did Hybrid Defense get reprinted?
No, Hybrid Defense hasn't, so that'll be... Namekian was notably absent from Richie's tiny little foil preview from, I forget, it was like a week or two ago, maybe. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think that was this past Tuesday.
But yeah, I'm fairly certain that Hybrid Defense has never been reprinted other than just being in set 1.
If it's not reprinted in 2 weeks,
right? Exactly.
That could be something because don't forget they just gave Namekian a new Omni block.
Yeah, but that Omni block is crap.
Well, it's Earth Balls. It's obviously Earth for Earth Balls, but this whole set is steering Namekian towards Earth Balls in general. So
yeah, that'll be very interesting for sure. And there's also always because like things have been so weird with the promo cards from even the last couple sets that. Maybe there's a promo Hybrid Defense from, like within the last 2 sets or something that just like it was on a list somewhere, but they haven't released it.
Yeah, that's possible.
Like it could be anything, but like it'll be very telling how they feel about Namekian style specifically if they decide to cut Hybrid from the environment.
I just don't see it happening.
But they haven't done it yet. That's the thing. Oh man, they don't reprint Hybrid. Ooh, the backlash.
I think if they do reprint it in the starters, it's going to be like a bomb that goes off in the community. Everyone's going to post a retro. I guarantee it. Everyone's going to post a retro and be like, "Oh, Hybrid Defense isn't going anywhere."
Yeah, it'd be large backlash if they don't.
Yeah, we'll see, man. Because I know, like, there are people I know who are on both sides of that fence. I think Hybrid Defense is fine, and I like the way that they've addressed, like. I like the way that they've expanded out with cards that can address it and time. Like, they've put in things that punish people for, relying too heavily on cards like that. Like, obviously we've got Spheres, already, but then, like, Freezing Drill and Gohan 4 and, individual attacks that just can't be stopped by it. And I think they've done a good enough job of making it an underpowered block in certain circumstances. Like, if you're running either a build that can deal with it or even just a handful of tech cards that can kind of stuff it a little bit. that card's fine, and it adds something really cool to Namekian. Like Restored specifically, that like if you took that card out, I'm not sure where those builds would be without it.
Yeah,
but I guess we'd
it's
find out.
A huge power jump with that card.
Yeah. I mean, Hybrid Defense is just an amazing card. I think it's okay now, but I understand the reason why people complained about it early on.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a card it's still good, but way back when, the beginning, it was nuts. Like,
oh yeah, just like Wallbreaker was. And honestly, I don't even like Wallbreaker anymore.
nobody likes Wallbreaker.
No, I mean, like, I don't like playing it at all. I'd rather play Devastating Blow.
I agree with that in general. Like, absolutely. That might even be, like a playstyle thing, but I'm 100% with you. In terms of, like, if I hold both of those cards in my hand, and I'm looking at a build, and I have to pick one or the other, like, 9 times out of 10, I'll pick Dev Blow.
Yeah. The blow, it just...
It does too many things for you. It does more things than Wallbreaker does. Wallbreaker can actually net you, like, 0 anger low. There are situations where you won't get anything out of Wallbreaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you throw it out there and then they pop it off immediately, it accomplished literally nothing, and it was just a pretty bad attack that could have been any other card in your deck.
I do have the top 16 has been posted to the blog.
Okay, read it. Let's hear it. I'll let Lorraine...
And they have them in matches, so I'll just read.
Okay.
We got Logan Cordell, who we just saw with his Saiyan Empowered Broly, versus Chris Huber and Black DB's Yamcha. Joey Walter with Black DB's Krillin versus Brad Langley with Red Enraged Cooler. Ashir Amir with Blue Protective Yamcha versus Sam Bartholomew with Black DB's Cooler. Matt Witchman with Namekian Restored Cell versus Gustavo Valles. Valles? I think so.
Yeah, I believe he was also the Restored Cell that we had on stream.
Yeah, that Matt Witchman was. But Gustavo Valles with
Good effort.
Protective Cooler. Rick Ketchum with Red Enraged Roshi versus Douglas Perdumo with Black DB's Cooler.
Oh, there we go. As you're reading it off, Brian Valdez has accommodated us.
Ryan Huff with Red Ruthless Broly versus Kelly Cartwright with Namekian Restored Cell. Jesse Newman with Red Enraged 13 versus William Hoosier with Saiyan Empowered Broly, and Ty Tracy with Black DB's 13 versus Dan Debenham with Black DB's 13.
Wow, so just a lot of the... You want to call it the big three?
Sure, yeah. Although there's a few slight curveballs in there. I like both of those Yamcha builds in that top cut. They're like the things that stand out probably. And then Black Krillin snuck his way into one final, one more top cut before we're done with Vengeance.
And we got 2 restored cells.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Sure, why not? But again, like that's a deck that, like I said, has been underrepresented in terms of the number of people who have played it. But it doesn't surprise me at all that 2 restored cells are capable of getting cut in a tournament. Like that deck is rock solid.
We just haven't seen him around recently at all, like you were saying.
Sure.
Well, it's looking like it's going to be a pretty interesting top cut. Do you guys have other people joining you on stream?
I think we will. Let me check my phone. Yeah, so I don't know if people caught our Michigan regional stream, but if they did, Frisco Foz was one of the players holding it down.
Yeah.
He's got a Worlds invite. He got top 4 at Gen Con. He's one of our locals, and he's a generally awesome dude. And he's heading over, so he'll probably be here in time to start the top 16 match. So he'll be joining us for those games. And then maybe one other person. I'll have to see. I have to see if they're still available. But at the very least, it'll probably be the 3 of us. Lorraine, myself, and Frisco closing this event out with Top Cut.
So who do you want to see? Who do you want to see in top 16 on stream?
I would take, like I said, I would take any of those that are even just slightly less populous builds. So I would take any of the Yamchas or either of the Cells, probably. I super don't want to watch the Black 13 mirror, because I bet that's just going to be like a slobber knocker. It's just going to be
stupid.
Violence
like
and
someone
anger.
Someone does 5 life cards, gets 2 impenetrable defenses, and it's just...
So yeah, we'll see what they give us, but I hope it's not that one. Other than that, I'd probably take any of the others, but my preference would be Like, yeah, something that is not a cooler, or that at least contains not a cooler or not a Broly.
I vote for a restored cell match. That's a great idea.
Yeah, I'd be down for either of those restored cells. Say one of them's fighting Ruthless Broly. Looking at the list again. Where'd the other one go?
Blue Protective Coolers.
Yeah, I'd watch either of those games. That sounds all right.
I would just like to see a restored cell match, and then I'd like to hear Frisco's commentary on it.
Oh, for sure.
Like
Yeah, exactly. I'll say the person, the most prominent restored cell player in the game, most likely. So, yeah, we'll see. I fingers crossed. I hope one of those restored cells decks will get deep enough that even if we don't get them top 16, we'll get one before the tournament ends. So, we shall see.
All right, well, I think I'm going to actually get going here. I'm going to start one of my next segments. But thanks for having me on stream.
Sure, right on. Thanks for coming. It was a good time.
Good luck with your 24 hours.
Right, so yeah, guys who are joining us right now, if you want to really be a baller, you could have both streams up at once. But I mean, if you choose to stick around here, we'll be glad to have you. If you head over to Didier's stream, I'm sure you'll have a great time over there too.
Random Number Gaming, right? That's the channel?
Yep, Random Number Gaming, thank you.
And then you should totally go over there. If you decide to stick with us exclusively, you should totally go over there afterwards and continue to partake in your guys' 24-hour madness.
Lots of Dragon Ball Z love all around.
Right on, man.
Card game and stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy your Top Cut, guys. I'll pop the stream on, see how Top Cut's going. Maybe I'll try to put the finals up or something, because I love a good match. I love a good finals.
Cool, right on, man.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, you guys have a good night and try to stay awake.
Yeah, right. All right, talk to you later.
Yeah,
Bye.
Later, man. All right, I'm gonna mute the right thing.
Okay, I think you got it.
Yeah, I think we're good. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out for that chunk. That was a ton of fun. I'm glad we got those dudes on to chat.
Yeah, for sure.
I think we're gonna take just like a handful of minutes. Like, I'm gonna put up our placeholder again. We'll take 5 minutes or less.
Yeah,
probably.
a little siesta.
Because I bet top 16 is starting any minute now, or maybe not. Maybe they're still doing deck checks. But keep an eye on the stream. We'll probably be back really soon, and when we return, we'll have a little more commentary and the first match of Top Cut for the NorCal Regional. So see you in a bit.